Hey everybody, and welcome back to another boat walkthrough with Addicted Fishing. Back by popular demand. We've been hearing a lot of feedback from you guys over the last few weeks and months about wanting a walkthrough to the old T-Rex. So this is what we have here. This is my boat. This is my little get-arounder jet boat. Probably the sexiest unit on the river if you haven't already seen. What we have here is a 1964 Club Cruiser backed with a 1994 Yamaha 90 horse pump. What we'll do here is we step in the boat, we'll go through the whole walkthrough and I'll kind of show you guys how I have it set up. Go over a couple of little minor details that I like to have on here, as well as some of the funny stuff that I have in my boat as well. So step on in the boat with me, let's go over it. So this boat here is pretty much an all-out fish slayer, and let me show you why. Once we step on in the boat here, I'll go from the front all the way to the back. We'll show you what's under the hood first, and then we'll kind of go through the boat and show you a couple of other things that I have in here. But first and foremost, what we got under the hood here. First, we don't ever leave home without our fillet away fish mats. So that's on there. What I have here is my anchor rope basket that the nice people at Fred Meyer's have donated to me ever so kindly. We've got a few extra bags drifting around here because we still got some fish to fillet today. What I kind of always carry with me, especially if I know there's going to be any fish in the river that might be steelhead, is my addicted landing net. Mine's obviously seen better days, but I keep my addicted landing net in here just in case we get a big wild Chinook or something that we can't keep, that we want to get some really good photos with and maybe take even to the bank. So I'll keep my addicted landing net in here when I can, or when I might need it. Along with that, I got my PFDs here. Some are a little bit bigger than needed, some not so much. But I got 3 or 4 in here, enough to however many people I'm gonna fit in my boat for the day. Probably one of the most important things, and especially for a boat like this that's obviously a little older model, is I always make sure to have my little toolbox with me, with basically a set of wrenches, set of Allen wrenches, basically the whole 9 yards, some starting fluid, some good electrical tape, a good hammer just in case you never know what you're gonna need a hammer for. We got our zip ties for our anchor setup. Basically just a few tools in case anything happens while you're out on the river, especially if you don't have quite as updated a boat of like Cameron and Marlin or all these guys. I think as you guys can tell, this is more of the beater up boat. The reason I bought this boat was so that we could take it out on low rivers, on small rivers, on areas where we really wouldn't want to take our big boats and hurt them. And we got this little beater so that we can go get around the river, hit rocks, go through gravel bars, do whatever we need to and still have fun and not worry about ruining a beautiful $60,000 boat. So alongside that, probably one of the most important parts in this boat, one is my registration. I got all the goodies in here. It's a good place to keep a pen so you can tag your fish. The toilet paper, of course, never leave home without that. A little bit of sunscreen, some of the bare essentials, of course. But then a neat little product that my buddy Marlin gave me is one of these, the Angler Aid box. This is a really clever little option that some close friends of ours just came out with. You can find them at angleraid.com. But really, it's kind of everything that you would ever need in case there was some kind of emergency on the river. You know, from the first aid kit, we got some SPF, some sunscreen here. We even come with a little multi-tool, just in case you need to work on your motor or anything. We got Bob's butt wipes, just in case you need to have a little emergency on the bank and your buddy already used all the toilet paper. We got some electrical tape again. Got a pair of gloves. We got some of the Angler Aid antiseptic, some cleaner just in case you get a bad cut and you need to clean it off, and a couple little pouches here. But really the kind of the first aid kit that you might need in case you're either one, stranded, or something happens on the river where somebody gets hurt and you need to get them some quick medical attention before you get back to the dock and get them to the doctor or whatever it might be. And of course, comes in a nice waterproof box. Super duper handy and really, really important to have in the boat just in case something ever happens out there. Which, as we all know, there tends to be a time or two when we're out on the river and we wish we had some of these things like the first aid kit. Somebody stabs their finger with a hook, anything like that. It's good to have something on board to help that out. As we work our way into the back of the boat, you guys will notice all the pine needles and sand that's in the boat. That really helps with the ballast in the boat to make sure that we're balanced as we go down the river every day. Having a little bit more sand on this side or a little bit more sand on that side can actually help us stay at a good plane as we go shooting up the river alongside through the day. One important part with a little motor like this, these older motors really eat up gas, so I always make sure to bring an extra 5 gallons of gas in the boat to run off of. I got my other fuel tank on this side of the boat. Of course, my fire extinguisher, my little air horn, everything that's legally needed to be out here on the river fishing. And of course, we never ever leave home without one of our Beckman nets. This is a great option. This is the perfect size. It works good for steelhead, it works good for salmon. Anything that you're gonna need to go fishing for, you got the Beckman net in here that can collapse down or fits right along the gunnel there just like that. Got a couple of duck hunting seats in here so that we have a nice soft place to sit. And of course, we never ever leave home without our Kong coolers, which actually, what do we have in here? Oh, a couple of fish, some eggs, a little bit of everything. So it's good to have the Kong cooler on board, whether or not you want to keep your drinks cold, whether or not you want to keep some fish in there, so on and so forth. You'll see along this left gunnel here, I got a bunch of old Brad's Wigglers and quick fish with rusty hooks. These are more for good luck than anything, you know. We have them in there for ambiance, so it looks like we know what we're doing all the time. Got a couple different colors, couple different things. Might be some stuff that I've found in the trees over the years. Got a couple extra rods on the left gunnel here with some old 3.5 spinners, of course. You never want to leave home without those. So as you take a couple more steps back, one important thing, especially if you have an anchor on your boat, is to always have a good deck knife. And me, I prefer an old Daniel Boone rusty blade if you got the option, or your Gerber knife, of course, might be one you want to go with. But something good and sharp, just in case your anchor ever does hang up, or you have a big barge come by, or there's some reason that you need to cut that anchor rope. It's always good to have some sort of deck knife on board to make sure you can run up and get that line cut and safely get off of your anchor. Moving on, of course, we got our tube of grease for greasing our lower unit on our pump here. We got our Eagle Cutta 168 depth finder that does not work. If you look over here, this is how we like to keep our transducers, just hanging off the side of the boat here. You know, if you want to know the depth, you just kind of drop it in there and stick your ear to the gunnel and see how many echoes you hear coming back and forth from the bottom. And that's going to tell you how deep you're fishing. We like a little mystery when we're out there on the river sometimes, so not having a working depth finder in a small river doesn't really hinder you much. Under this gunnel over here, we got our navigation lights, of course. Need these to be legal out there on the river in any situation. And then we got our trash bag in the back. Of course, we never want to be littering out on the river while we're fishing, so we make sure to keep a little basket here in the back so we can throw our Red Bull cans, our old plugs that we don't like anymore, and whatever else you have in the boat in that. Moving on to the powerhouse here on the boat. This is a 1994 Yamaha 90 horse motor. She runs like a top. You want to hear it? Oh yeah, one of my favorite parts of the boat. Sitting here next to her is her friend here, a little Honda 4, a little 8 horse Honda 4-stroke. Does the job just right for trolling back and forth up the river, whatever you might want. Some of the options that I'm waiting on from Mr. Marlin is to get me a nice little bow mount trolling motor to put on the front of this, which helps a lot in these smaller river situations when you definitely want to have a little bit quieter presentation. Over here we got some day old eggs, again probably more for good luck than anything. And let's not forget our lucky old fish on rod holders. Now these things are pretty unique themselves. They actually are a strike indicator as well as a rod holder, so when you actually get a bite, you'll hear the rod breaking back and forth when that fish is slamming down your plug or your flasher or whatever it might be, so that you actually know you have a fish on. So these are custom. You're gonna have to really try hard to find these out there. And one thing we never leave home without is our handy dandy fishing dog. He brings us good luck. He's a bite indicator as well. He barks very loud when we hook fish, and most of all, he cheers us on while we fight them. So we don't ever leave our little boy behind because he's our mascot and he loves fishing more than we do even. So can't forget Little at home, ever. Oh, but last but not least, let's not forget our tire iron and our little hand rake in case you ever want to stop on the beach and make a sand castle. You might want a little bucket in the boat or some kind of rake in here so that you can go dig in the sand and have fun if the fish really aren't biting. And then of course the tire iron, just in case we get a flat on the trailer as we come back and forth to the river every day. So a couple things you do not want to leave home without, and you do not want to get caught on the river not having. So all fun aside, you guys see how my boat, the T-Rex, is definitely the more beater boat. It's like the four-wheeler of boats. I paid about $6,000 to $6,500 for this boat. So it was something that when I bought, I had in mind to be able to take it out and not worry too much about hurting it. So there's a lot of different options. I know Cameron's done a walkthrough of his boat. Marlon will do a walkthrough of his boat. We'll go through and even do some walkthroughs of my raft and stuff, but this is my get around boat. This is the T-Rex that all of you guys have been seeing on these Addicted Lives and these different tutorials. So this is my little fun boat. I love having it, and you guys should go out and get one too if you ever get the chance. All right, everybody, well, that pretty much sums up the old T-Rex. If you guys enjoyed this, be sure to go down here and hit like, hit that little comment button, and leave us a comment with what you thought of the T-Rex. She's a little ghetto, but she gets the job done, and she gets bloody almost every time she goes out. So I love this boat. I hope you guys loved it too. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that little subscribe button, and do not forget to hit those little bell notifications so that you guys see every video that we have coming out daily here on our page, Addicted Fishing. Stay fishy, guys. We'll see you out there.